What if the signs of the chosen ones are all around us, but we just don't see them? What if they walk among us, invisible to the eye, yet their lives are woven with purpose and destiny? In the ancient scriptures, we hear stories of individuals who were set apart by the Creator, marked by signs that transcended ordinary human understanding. These chosen ones didn't always wear crowns or carry swords. They didn't seek fame or power. Instead, their lives unfolded in quiet, extraordinary ways, revealing their divine calling through subtle yet unmistakable signs. But how can we recognize these signs? How can we be certain that the people we pass on the street, or those we meet every day, are part of a higher plan? The truth is, the signs are there, hidden in plain sight, waiting for those with eyes to see. Throughout history, the chosen ones have been given extraordinary gifts, yet often their paths were filled with trials and challenges that seemed insurmountable. Their journey was never about ease, it was about fulfilling a purpose that stretched beyond themselves. The Bible speaks of these individuals, men and women marked by God, whose destinies were written before they even drew their first breath. From the shepherd boy David to the humble Mary, the mother of Jesus, their signs were not loud or showy, they were a reflection of something deeper, a divine truth unfolding in real time. But as we go through our own lives, how do we know if we too are part of this grand narrative? Perhaps you felt it, a pull, a quiet stirring within, as though you're meant for something more, something greater than the life you're living now. Maybe you've looked at the world and wondered why certain things keep happening to you, or why you're faced with challenges that seem impossible to overcome. Could it be that these struggles are signs of your divine calling? Could the very challenges you face be the marks of someone chosen? As we explore these 5 signs of those chosen by God, we will uncover not just the stories of the past, but perhaps a glimpse into something much more personal, a reflection of the signs that might be shaping your life even now. So, stay with us as we reveal the hidden truths behind these divine markers, and see if you recognize them in the people around you, or even in yourself. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss any powerful insights into the incredible spiritual teachings and religious figures every day. Throughout history, there have been those whose lives seemed destined for something far greater than what the world might offer. These individuals are often referred to as God's chosen ones, those marked by divine purpose and set apart for a special mission. But what exactly does it mean to be chosen? What signs mark the lives of these extraordinary people, and how can we recognize them? The Bible is rich with stories of individuals who were selected by God to fulfill a higher calling, from the ancient patriarchs to the prophets, and even to the apostles of Christ. Their lives were not ordinary, they were marked by signs, wonders, and events that set them apart from the crowd. These signs weren't always grandiose or dramatic, but they were unmistakable, guiding these chosen ones along paths they may not have understood at first, yet always leading them toward fulfilling God's plan. In many ways, the lives of God's chosen ones are not only stories of faith but also illustrations of the divine hand at work in the world. They remind us that we, too, may be part of something greater, even if we don't fully understand it. And perhaps, just as in the days of old, those signs are still present in the world today, waiting to be recognized. But what are these signs? Are they only visible to those with unwavering faith, or can we, in our own lives, see them too? In this exploration, we'll look at the 5 signs that have historically been believed to mark those chosen by God, and we'll explore how they reveal a deeper truth about the journey of faith, purpose, and destiny. This is not just about understanding those who lived long ago, it's about recognizing that these same signs could be present in the people despite the deep-rooted belief in the existence of God's chosen ones. There remains a considerable amount of skepticism when it comes to recognizing and understanding the signs that supposedly mark them. For some, the very notion of being chosen can seem abstract or even misguided, especially in a world where human experience often revolves around logic, science, and personal achievement rather than divine intervention. Many question whether the signs attributed to the chosen ones are truly divine or simply a matter of perception. Is it possible that these signs are merely coincidences, or are they the result of the human mind searching for meaning in the face of uncertainty? The challenge of discernment lies in this tension. How can we tell the difference between what is divine and what is simply a product of imagination, hope, or desire? In a society that often values tangible evidence and material success, the idea of an individual being chosen for a divine purpose can seem far-fetched. People often ask, how can we know for sure, or, what does it even mean to be chosen by God? These doubts are compounded by the fact that the signs themselves are not always easy to recognize. Unlike the grand events of biblical times, many of the signs are subtle, unfolding over time in quiet moments, and sometimes requiring deep reflection to truly understand. Furthermore, history has shown that those who claim to be chosen are not always above reproach. From false prophets to individuals using their supposed divine calling to manipulate or deceive others, there is an inherent danger in declaring someone as chosen without true discernment. This has led many to question whether anyone, in truth, is truly set apart by God, or if such claims are simply human constructions meant to justify actions, authority, or belief. But perhaps the greatest challenge lies in our understanding of what it means to be chosen. For many, the idea of being selected by God is tied to greatness, power, or influence. But could it be that the true signs of being chosen are far more subtle and humble? Are we looking for signs in the wrong places, expecting grand miracles or overt displays of power, when the real signs might be found in acts of humility, sacrifice, and service? As we explore these signs, we must approach the question of discernment with both caution and openness. The path to understanding the chosen ones and the signs they exhibit is not always straightforward, and it requires more than just observation. It calls for spiritual awareness, wisdom, and a willingness to see beyond the surface. In the end, perhaps the true sign of the chosen ones is not just their ability to fulfill a divine purpose, but our own ability to recognize that purpose within the complexities of life. Here's an examination of the 5 signs commonly associated with God's chosen ones, supported by biblical examples and stories. 1. A calling beyond the ordinary. One of the first and most significant signs of God's chosen ones is a sense of calling that sets them apart from the ordinary. This calling often comes unexpectedly and disrupts the course of their lives. The chosen are called to a higher purpose, one that may not always be understood immediately but unfolds with time. In the Bible, one of the clearest examples of this calling is found in the story of Moses. While living a quiet life as a shepherd in the wilderness, Moses encountered a burning bush that wasn't consumed by fire. This strange and miraculous event was a clear sign that he was being called by God to lead the Israelites out of Egypt. Though Moses initially resisted and questioned his ability, the calling was undeniable, and it marked the beginning of his journey as a leader chosen by God. In modern-day stories, there are countless instances where individuals feel a calling that changes their entire life direction. It may not come in the form of a burning bush, but many report feeling an inner prompting or a profound sense of purpose that leads them to serve others, speak out on important issues, or pursue a life that goes beyond their own desires. 2. The presence of divine protection and guidance. Another unmistakable sign of being chosen by God is a sense of divine protection and guidance, especially during times of adversity. Those chosen by God often find themselves in situations where their survival, success, or impact seems miraculous, as if their path is divinely directed. Take the example of Daniel in the Bible, who was thrown into the lion's den for refusing to worship the king. Despite the life-threatening danger, God protected him, and Daniel emerged unharmed, a powerful testament to the divine protection that accompanies those chosen for a higher purpose. Similarly, when Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego were thrown into the fiery furnace for their refusal to worship false gods, they were miraculously preserved by God's protection. Today, countless individuals share stories of facing near-death experiences or overwhelming challenges, only to survive or overcome them in ways that seem beyond human capability. These experiences are often seen as signs that God's protection is actively at work in their lives. 3. A life of unusual struggles and trials. Though many might expect that God's chosen ones lead lives free from hardship, the reality is often the opposite. Those who are chosen by God frequently face trials and tribulations that seem disproportionate to the challenges faced by others. These struggles are not punishment, but rather a part of the refining process that prepares them for their purpose. Consider the story of Job, a man who was chosen by God to endure unimaginable suffering. His wealth, health, and family were all taken from him in one swift moment. Yet, through his suffering, Job's faith was tested and ultimately strengthened, and he was restored even more abundantly. Job's story is often seen as a reminder that God's chosen ones may undergo trials that are meant to shape their character, deepen their faith, and prepare them for greater tasks. In the lives of modern-day individuals, this sign is evident in the struggles that lead to personal growth. Many people who have experienced hardship report that, while they questioned why they faced such difficulties at the time, they later came to realize that those very struggles shaped them into who they were meant to become. 4. A deep connection to God through prayer and reflection. Those chosen by God are often marked by a deep, personal connection to Him, demonstrated through prayer, worship, and reflection. This connection is not superficial but serves as the foundation of their lives and actions. It is through this communion with God that they find clarity, strength, and direction. The Apostle Paul is a perfect example of this. Before his conversion, he was Saul, a persecutor of Christians. After encountering Christ on the road to Damascus, he was blinded and spent 3 days in prayer and fasting. It was during this time of reflection and communion with God that Paul's purpose as an apostle was revealed to him. From that moment forward, his life was dedicated to spreading the gospel, and he became one of the most influential figures in Christianity. Today, people who feel chosen often speak of moments of deep prayer, quiet reflection, or spiritual awakening that guide their path and purpose. Whether through meditation, prayer, or times of solitude, these individuals experience a profound connection with the divine that directs their actions and decisions. 5. A mark of humility and servanthood. A final sign of being chosen by God is the presence of humility and a servant's heart. Despite being set apart for greatness, those chosen by God do not seek power, fame, or recognition. Instead, they often embody the spirit of humility, serving others with a heart of compassion and grace. Jesus himself is the ultimate example of this. Though he was the Son of God, he humbled himself by becoming a servant to others. He washed his disciples' feet, healed the sick, and served the poor, showing that true greatness in God's eyes comes through serving others. His life was a model of sacrificial love and humility. In modern times, many people who feel called by God reflect this same spirit of humility. Whether through acts of kindness, charity, or a life dedicated to service, they demonstrate that being chosen by God is not about elevation, but about lifting others up. These 5 signs, a calling beyond the ordinary, divine protection and guidance, struggles that refine, a deep connection to God, and a heart of humility, are often seen as indicators of those chosen by God. Though the specifics may vary across time and culture, these signs share a common thread. They reveal a life that is set apart for a purpose greater than what the world might understand. Each sign serves as a reminder that God's chosen ones are not always the ones who stand out the most in the crowd, but they are the ones who are called to serve, to persevere, and to fulfill a divine destiny that only they can walk. Whether in biblical times or today, these signs are still present, guiding those who are chosen to fulfill God's plan. As we have explored, the signs of God's chosen ones are not always what we expect. They are not loud or flashy, but they carry a profound depth that can only be understood through faith and discernment. From the moment they are called to a higher purpose, these individuals exhibit signs that set them apart, a calling beyond the ordinary, divine protection and guidance in times of trouble, a life marked by trials that refine their character, a deep and personal connection with God, and a spirit of humility and service to others. These signs are not simply relics of the past, confined to the pages of Scripture. They are living markers that continue to unfold in the lives of those who are chosen by God, even today. The challenges, the miracles, the quiet moments of divine guidance, they all point to a deeper truth, that God's purpose is at work in the lives of those He calls, even when the world cannot see it. As we reflect on these 5 signs, we are invited to look beyond the surface and ask ourselves, are these signs present in the lives of those around us? Could they even be present in our own lives? The signs of the chosen ones are not meant to elevate individuals for their own sake, but to fulfill a higher calling, one that serves the greater good and reflects God's divine will. Whether we are called to be leaders, servants, healers, or teachers, the signs that mark us as chosen are part of a journey of purpose, growth, and transformation. It's not always easy to recognize these signs, but when we open our hearts and minds to see them, we begin to understand that we too may be part of something much greater, a divine narrative that stretches far beyond our own lives. So, as we close this discussion, let us remember that the signs of those chosen by God are all around us. They are found not only in the pages of Scripture but also in the lives of those who walk among us today. And perhaps, just perhaps, these signs are waiting to be discovered in our own lives, as we too answer the call of the one who has chosen us for a purpose beyond what we can see. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Do you see any of these signs in your own life or in those around you? Are there other signs that you believe mark those chosen by God? Share your reflections in the comments below. Your perspective might just resonate with someone else on their own journey. If you enjoyed this exploration into the signs of the chosen ones, be sure to check out our next video where we dive even deeper into the themes of faith, purpose, and spirituality. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss out on new insights that might help you on your path. Thank you for watching, and we look forward to hearing from you in the comments.